Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I have a great big, well, a pan in your way, but I have this great big vat of eco printed paper that I did yesterday. I thought I would go ahead and do a reveal quickly with you. We'll take a look at it. There are 6 bundles here. These top 3 are construction paper and the bottom are sketchbook paper. I basically just use plants and alum water, and I put my rusty cogs on top. I dropped a little bit of madder and marigold in this vat, and yeah, let it boil and we'll see what happens. It's mainly just leftover plants that I had from doing some printing of fabrics, and yeah, let's get started. So I'm just going to move this for a moment. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to put the pan down and we'll do kind of one bundle at a time as usual. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first bundle of construction paper. So I'll just cut the strings here, and this is just tied with like a thin yarn, and unwrap it first. Apparently it got in between. There we go. Let's toss that away. Now the marigold will give me some shades of orange, yellow, gold. On this construction paper though, this is a gray construction paper. I don't get a lot of light color. I use this particular paper in a lot of projects because I do a lot of grungy projects and I really love this paper. So I've used, this is the leaves from a mulberry tree. I've used, what you're seeing, these purpley shades, these are all rose petals. Mostly I've used a ton of rose petals. I had a bunch of roses that I needed to use up. And so that is what we've done. Now there's little bits here. So see the rose petals, and these are eucalyptus. And these are eucalyptus that I had dried, and they just add some fun shadows and things. On cloth they give a really nice print. They do on paper sometimes too, depending on what I use, but I didn't use a lot of tannin heavy plants. But I really love this paper. I use it in a lot of my journals. You've probably seen it before if you follow my channel. Today is a nice morning actually. I've been enjoying the fact that the heat wave has broken, although we got a new HVAC system this week too. So you can see my rusty cog there. So I'll just fold this. There's still little bits of plant material. I don't worry about all of that until it's dry, and then you just brush it off. It's not something that you need to be concerned about. I've also wanted to answer a couple of questions I had about eco-printing plants from the last time, about the paper itself, how you treat it after you remove the plants. So I just dry it, and I just hang it on a rack to dry. I do not rinse my paper. There's absolutely no need to rinse your paper. And also, you're going to probably double or triple your chances of ripping your paper if you're going to rinse it, and it doesn't actually accomplish much, so I wouldn't worry about rinsing paper at all. Don't need to. Okay, look at those petals. They're so pretty. And these are all from some compost at one of our local graveyards. And I have permission to take the old flower material from the groundskeeper. So that is where I get a lot of my flowers and leaves. And it's kind of a beneficial relationship because it means that they don't have to deal with them. So the groundskeeper doesn't have to collect everything everywhere and, you know, haul it all over to the compost and deal with it. So he's totally happy that I picks the old stuff up. He'll usually, if he picks it up, he leaves it in piles for me around the graveyard, because he knows that I'll pick them up. And then I don't have to like go near any garbage or anything, which is also great. And I also don't have to look like I'm a grave robber going to the graves and taking the flowers. I don't usually do that, though I do a lot of picking up trash and, you know, just maintaining. Like, I just like, I mean, I do that in my normal environment. We do a lot of beach cleanup stuff, and with my kiddos, just doing everything we can to make the environment better. And because we do so much walking and nature study actually in graveyards, it's kind of a hobby that we got into in, 2020 when everything changed. We needed a place to have kind of less people and still good outdoor walks. This is sumac. Sumac is a wonderful plant for printing. It's in North America, one of the best plants that you can use for doing eco-printing on cloth, because it is so rich in tannin. It also makes incredible sun tea. You can make beautiful tea or iced tea with it, with the red blooms. Just make sure that you get them when they're at the height of their freshness, and also try not to collect them from next to a roadway, because you're going to get a lot of car, gasoline, off-gassing and stuff on the plants. They're not as sort of clean as other plants that you would find a little further away. So yeah, look at those colors. Now these will change a little bit when they're dry. They do look a little brighter when they're wet. But I will make, I'll do a flip through of all the paper once it's dry at the end here. But I do like to share just you seeing the leaves lift off. So you can see the impressions here. Some leaves, like the sumac, really give an impression. Some act almost as a resist to whatever you've put in the water. These are eucalyptus. These were just sprigs. I'm not exactly sure what. They were in a funeral bouquet. This is our sumac, which obviously you can see is the most effective plant that I used on this. And the way that I did this with these big sheets of construction paper, I just, when you have the whole sheet like this, I would lay everything out, fold it, nothing on this side. And then when I'd fold it again, I'd put something else here, and then I'd fold it one more time, so it gives me a couple of layers of potential color. Still quite a bit of water in here. So look at that. Isn't that beautiful, those leaves? So that's the outer stuff. And then in here are the leaves. And this is also sumac and eucalyptus. Eucalyptus and the rose petals give everything the loveliest smell. So here's some sumac. So I think I've explained this to you before, but in the eco-printing world, your leaves have a sun side and a moon side. The sun side is literally the side that looks up at the sun. The moon side is the lower side that, doesn't look up at the sun all the time. And typically the tannin, which is what's going to print, it's going to react with your mordant, that is on the moon side. So you'll see darker color here. This is the moon side. This lighter color is the sun side. In here I have more eucalyptus. I have some Japanese maple sprigs, and they actually do print. They can be a little hard, unpredictable, probably is the best way to say that. But this, I do see them, but it might be hard for you to see them on the video because they're so small. It was a red Japanese maple. Ooh, lots of water. I'll probably need to dump this tray in a moment. These are actual white mulberries on mulberry leaves. We did a lot of foraging for mulberries the other day, so I grabbed some leaves because they print nicely. Sumac that picked up some of that nice rose petal purple from the other pages, or possibly some of the madder as well. Yeah, that's a good example of moon side of the leaf. Okay, there we go. So that's bundle 1. I'll be right back with bundle 2. I'm going to dump this water and hang these. Okay, so now we'll look at some of the sketchbook paper. It's more white paper rather than the gray paper. It is a little bit thinner, so I'll just need to be a little more gentle than I am with the construction paper because it's quite durable. So in here we have oak leaf and rose petal, and I think this is a really pretty print. Let's get the last of those up. Now this is the tough part. This thin paper, but it's really pretty. Just kind of try to pick up the corner if you can. The folded corners are not as brittle. Where you'll typically get cracking or ripping is right about like an inch or so in, or in the fold. So you just got to be a little gentle. Bits of leaf with this rose petal, and I'll just show you one of each of these while I'm talking, but then I'll do the rest of the bundles with you, maybe in high speed with music on, and then I'll do a flip through of the dry reveal at the end. Yeah, look at the dimension that we're getting from these petals. It's so nice. Again, oak leaves. These are pin oak leaves. And they print really nicely. They pick up the color of the rose petal. You also get kind of like nice markings on the creases of the pages. So I just like to refold them before I move them. Makes it a little easier. And I just kind of let the water drip out. So just grab the bottom corner because I can see it really well. So see, there's a little crack. But it's not a big deal actually. The final product, you're not really going to be too upset about the little crack. Let's get that water out of the middle there. See that oak leaf? Isn't that amazing? So we'll throw these rose petals away here. Bring that oak leaf up. Yeah, the rose petals really shine in this paper. I was happy I had so many to use because they're just so pretty, and I ended up using the rose leaves. They print really nicely on cotton. I've been printing cotton shopping bags for my my Etsy shop. I actually just did I just added to the shop yesterday a botanical print digital of some nice digitals actually. They really print beautifully. I should show them to you. Maybe I'll do that in another video when my hands aren't all wet and dirty. If you so choose, you can wear gloves when you're doing this. I can't be bothered, to be honest. I am a lady of the forest. With dirty hands most of the time. Although not dirty, you know what I mean. Stained hands from doing things. Although there's a lot of times dirty hands when I'm outside with the kids, that's for sure. You cannot really escape that with parenting. Okay. I like the darkened edges on this paper too. That's the rust that does that. I can't recall what these little branches of leaves were now. Some random plant that was just in a sprig. It does leave nice little leaves behind though. See if there's one right there. Oh, this one. These are the little green petals that are under the base of the rose, and I drop all the little bits from inside the stem of the rose because they give these nice little spots, but we're going to brush those off when the paper's dry. So we'll get that oak leaf out of there. And I'll probably do some scans of these also and add them as digitals. If you are interested in some of these, just keep an eye, follow me on Etsy, and you'll see when I post these things. See all those little finite, those little fine details from those little seeds there? Those little rose bits from the middle of the rose. Okay. Try to get a little more of that off. There we go. Not too important. Like I mentioned, once they're dry, it just brushes right off. You don't have to worry about it. One to go. So these were lighter colored rose petals. They were like a peachy color. And this one was the one that was on the bottom of the pan, and it got a hole because it was against the direct heat, as I forgot to put a pan in there to hold them up, so we got a hole. Now, I'm still going to use this paper. I'm going to show it to you once it's dry. This paper is actually going to be really cool. So here's the little bit that we lost because it got a little charred on the bottom of the pan. But actually that's going to be a really fun piece of paper that we can use for something really awesome. So I will show it to you afterward. I'm going to go clean this up, and the rest of this video will be sped up with some music, and we can just look at the prints together. Hi everyone, it is the next morning. All this paper has dried. So this was one of the pieces that tore. I just tore off the other side, but this is still just a beautiful piece of paper to use for something. So this is kind of typical of how the rose petal and oak, the red rose petal, this is typical of how the pages turned out. They are beautiful. We get kind of like a Rorschach kind of design because we fold them in half so we get a mirror image. And of course they're all, you know, different but similar. Actually, I should show you front and back, so I'll kind of do a flip. I'll just go kind of quickly here. Now, this was remember all those little bits that were from the roses? That's what that does. And these were the yellow, actually they weren't yellow, they were pinky peachy roses kind of. And then we're back to more red rose, oak, more of those little bits and bobs from the inside of the rose. And the black that you see is coming from the iron, and it picks up the tannin in the oak. And then, I love the oak on this one. It's really nicely defined. Now here we have, this is the gray construction paper. Here's the sumac, the moon side and sun side. So the sun side does a bit of bleaching. The moon side is darker. The inside of this one had rose petals. That's a little bit of rose petal left over there. But aren't these just really cool papers? They're very grungy. Now we're back to the sketchbook paper and the roses that were the lighter pink with the oak. Nice spotty oak, more of those little bits from roses. More oak. I just tend to work with whatever I have at the time. This is a little bit of actually oxalis that grows in my garden. It's good for exhausting or removing color. Rose petals. Lots of good oak there. This page is very grungy. Love it. And there's that iron picking up. This is chestnut. This is sumac. Here's a better example of the sumac. Sumac and rose petal. More roses. These are the leaves from roses. Here's a page with a hole in it. So see what I mean about how cool and grungy these pages are? Now obviously I'll need to do something to strengthen this page. If it didn't have such a big hole, it would be really cool, but like I'm going to use it, I'll probably put it onto another page and I'll hide something in this hole here. These make really great pages actually. Like see, imagine gluing those together and then maybe you would put something here like, you know, like a garden, like a gargoyle, or like, you know, if you were doing a morning journal, you could put like an angel from a graveyard or something. Look at that. Isn't that just fun? This is sumac and rose petal. And it's just a great page. Again, more great pages. And I will scan a bunch of these pages for my Patreon so that you can have fun with them as well. This is eucalyptus. Oops. Forgot to get the little rosy bits out of there. I will do a more thorough shakedown of these after. I just kind of grabbed them off the rack this morning and didn't do a whole lot. But see, this is what I mean about not needing to rinse. There'd be no reason to do that. Now see this is the bleaching effect that these leaves have on this gray construction paper. It's really cool. These are eucalyptus, rose petal, white. Those were the peach rose petal. And then this is sumac. More of the rose petal with eucalyptus on back. Same Okay, so these ones were the ones that were near the top where I lay the rusty cogs on them. So here's some of the cogs. Really shows up on the back. Really picks up the iron. Love those dark rose petals. Lots of the red rose petal. It turns like a purple shade. And these are big enough, these pages. There's more of my rusty cogs. You know, I could literally cut this in half and then fold it for sort of a standard size journal, but I do keep these ones for my larger lap books most of the time because I'm always looking for big pages for my larger journals. There's some sumac, and it looks really cool on the rose. Honestly, like when you're doing a boiled book like this, the more you can get of sumac, the better. It does so much for you. This is leaves that I tore apart from a large chestnut leaf. Like, you know how chestnuts grow in those leaf clusters of 8, I believe. More sumac. And then again, that's the back side. You can see the bleach out of the leaves. This side you see the sumac really well, the sun and the moon side. That's the moon side, the dark one, the sun side is the light. And again, more sumac. So that is this big boiled book. So I have made a lot of paper, which is great because I need paper. I have been going through a lot of paper lately. And yeah, I hope that, you know, you'll have some fun as well. Try out this fun method of paper making. I think you'll like your result. You can use many different kinds of paper. Watercolor paper is the best. It's wonderful. But also sketchbook paper, construction paper, any heavier weight cardstock is fine. I don't recommend copy paper. It will literally just fall apart unless you want to, like, you could get it all wet. You know, you can do the boiling technique. Put a cookie, like one of those gridded cookie cooling racks underneath it when you've tied it together. And then what I would literally do is I would pull it out and I would just set it outside in the hot sun, or, you know, in a place in your home where it's not going to get interrupted at all for days until it is almost dry. Even though it's all together in a bundle, I would just let it sit and drain somewhere until most of the water goes. That would then give you a safer ability to pick it up and not just have it fall apart in your hands. Because yeah, copy paper in a boiled book is kind of like wet toilet paper. You just don't really want to deal with it. So anyways, thanks guys. Have a great day. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, hang out with me. I try to do different kinds of tutorials, including different paper tutorials. I have more that are in the wings right now. And I do these relatively often with different kinds of plants and stuff. And I'm also very knowledgeable in natural dyeing, plant dyeing, all those kind of things. So I'll probably be bringing more of that here as well. So have a great day and bye for now.